Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for taking time out of your schedules today to join us for our Final Expense Monthly Monday. Hope everybody had a nice weekend. It seems like the weather kind of cooperated for the very first time in a long time during the weekend. So again, I hope everybody had a nice weekend and ready to get into discussion about Final Expense and the program that we have to offer. This webinar is designed for those that are kind of participating in Final Expense with URL and also ordering leads through some of our lead vendors through URL here. So I know that there's a lot of new faces on the call today. So I'll go over our Final Expense program here briefly, just to kind of give you a rundown of what we do. Now, the first Monday of every month, unless there's a holiday, of course, we will be discussing some of the different things that are going on in the Final Expense of the senior life insurance marketplace. So we'll be talking about some of the company updates, sales tips and trends, challenges and successes. We will also be putting B leads on sale. So those of you that are looking to get some leads at a low cost, we may have some leads available in your area. And then we want to hear from you. We want to know what's going on for those of you that are already active in the Final Expense marketplace. What's going on? How are things going? What can we do to help you grow your sales and become even more successful in the senior marketplace? So with all that, let me just introduce myself. My name is Matt Alina, and I'm one of the marketers here at URL, and it's been my job this year to kind of spearhead the marketing efforts of Final Expense and helping agents get on board and get them their leads that they need, as well as their supplies and the materials to become successful. With that being said, we do have an upcoming training involving Final Expense here. It will be Wednesday, July 12th. It is a seminar. It's a breakfast meeting. It's called Making More with Medicare. It is designed for those that are active with URL or considering to work with URL with Medicare, and how Medicare can springboard you into other sales opportunities. It's a great, we just did it last week. We'll be doing it again July 12th. It's 8:30 in the morning here in our offices in Harrisburg, and it should only last probably till about 10 o'clock. So hopefully that doesn't blow an entire day for you, but love to see a great turnout again for that seminar. So it's again July 12th, 8:30 in the morning. We'll have breakfast and coffee and all that good stuff for you, and then we'll start the meeting at 9. And it should be over about 10:15 or so. If you're interested in registering, you can go to our website at urlinsgroup.com. Again, for those of you who are new to URL or just kind of kicking the tires to find out what we do with Final Expense, we have 14 different Final Expense carriers in our portfolio. And no, we don't want you to get licensed with all 14 carriers, but it's just to show you that we do have a robust portfolio, and that depending on what your client has going on with them medically or financially or whatever, we do have products that are going to meet their needs, whether it's looking for someone that has some height and weight issues, to some pre-existing medical conditions, or maybe they just have a tight budget. We have the carriers and products to meet their needs. You can find out more about what companies are best by going to our website, urlinsgroup.com. When you go to our Life Markets section, you can click on Quoting Tools and then Quote Final Expense. It's going to take you to this next page where you're going to see on the left-hand side there, you'll put in the client's date of birth, male, female, smoker, or non-smoker, and the amount of coverage you're looking to get. And then there's level, there's graded, modified, and guaranteed issue. And then on the right-hand side, it shops the rates for you. You'll find that with Final Expense, for those of you who are not active in the Final Expense market, you'll find that most of the companies are within a couple of dollars of each other, so they're all very competitive. So it's not one of these knee-jerk reactions where you have to always offer the cheapest. You can always offer what you have in your portfolio. If you need help selecting carriers, we'll be more than happy to help you do that. Jumping into our lead program, again, this is for those of you who are not already active in our lead program. We have two lead options. We have mailers. that are $29 per lead. It's a 20 lead minimum order. They're exclusive. You have your own defined sales territory, and they're never resold. These are your leads. You're paying for them. Some agents will order some of the leads for final expense, and they may or may not get a final expense sale out of it, but they'll also use it during open enrollment for Medicare or for other things, and they put them on the mailing list as well. The other thing that you can do is order teleleads. Those are $19 per lead with a 20 lead minimum order. They're exclusive. So again, you have your own defined sales territory, and they are never resold. Now, URL does subsidize your lead costs based on your production. Again, if you're not in our lead program, just to kind of give you an idea, for those who are Gemini partners with us, we give you $80 to apply towards, for every $1,000 of annualized premium, we give you $80 to apply towards a lead order. If you're a non-Gemini agent, we give you $50 to apply towards your next lead order. So for every $1,000 of annual expense or final expense, monthly annual premium. If you have questions about that, feel free to give us a call and we'll discuss it more in detail. We'll be happy to discuss the Gemini program, our lead subsidy program, and so on. I do want to also touch on our where the leads are. Now, we're based in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. For those of you that don't know where we're located, we're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which is south central Pennsylvania. The star on the map there is kind of our territory or where we're located. And we do have a lot of agents that are working leads in these areas or right around URL. But I do want to show you where some other leads are available for those of you who are on the call today and maybe you're considering ordering some leads. So if we look at Harrisburg, north and east of us, so we're talking Luzerne, Carbon County, the northeast corridor of Pennsylvania, we do have a considerable amount of leads in that area, as well as in the Philadelphia area. Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, and the Collier counties, there's a lot of leads available there. Moving into Ohio and west, the Cleveland area, there's a ton of leads available there. So if any of you are in Ohio, there's a lot of opportunity in the Cleveland area. There's also a lot of leads available in the DC and Prince George County area, as well as Baltimore. So you do have some opportunities there. So even if you're not in that area, maybe it's an hour or two drive, it might be worth it to make that trip. And you can schedule your leads and the times and your appointments to when it best suits your schedule. We also have a good chunk of leads in areas like the Charlotte, North Carolina area, as well as the East Coast, Charleston, all the way up and down the eastern shores of the South Carolina. Florida's a little bit tougher, but that's just to kind of give you an idea of what we've got in those areas and so on. So if you want to discuss more about our lead program and lead availability, feel free to give me a call. I'm at 800-926-8875, and my extension is 141, or you can email me at matta@urlinsgroup.com. We'll go into some company updates here. Every now and then we run into people who are not yet in the wheelhouse of final expense. The wheelhouse for final expense is usually somebody in their 50s and older, but we do have some carriers that do branch out into younger ages. Just to highlight a few, Liberty Bankers, they have issue ages 18 to 80. So they will take clients that for final expense, smaller face amount whole life plans, starting at age 18. Transamerica, they have two products, and the underwriting is a little bit different, but I did want to point this out that they have it's the Immediate Solutions plan. They have a program designed for people ages 0 to 44, and then they have another program ages 44 to 85. Now, for those that are 44 to 85, one of the biggest advantages that Transamerica has is they do not ask height and weight. So if you have a client that has a height and weight issue, and I'm talking significant obesity, they do not ask those questions. And as long as they don't have any other complications that are associated with medical problems or many medical problems associated with being overweight or obesity, they'd be able to qualify for a level plan with Transamerica. And then last but certainly not least, United Home Life, they have their program is available ages 25 to 80. They also have a graded benefit plan and max death benefit of $25,000, but then they also have two level plans, a deluxe and a premier. Those final expense plans, depending on the age of your client, can go up to $50,000 to $100,000 depending on their level of health. So if you are ever looking for some alternatives here, or you have some unique situations, these three companies might fit the bill for some of your clients' needs. When you're going, last month when we had our monthly call, we discussed how clients don't know that final expense insurance is nothing more than a problem solver if the client realizes that they have a problem. Here are the top 5 final expense lead-in questions. These questions are designed to expose the client's need for a final expense policy. Now, sometimes beyond the surface of not having enough money to pay for a funeral, final expense could also be the glue that keeps a family together. If you're dealing with clients that have some financial issues where if they were to die today, they would their family would be passing a hat around to pay for a funeral expense. But it could also be something along the line. It could also solve the problem of the siblings or the children of the insured staying together, because with financial stress comes sometimes it can put a wedge in a family. So this would help alleviate some of those financial stresses. So let's get into these top 5 final expense lead-in questions. Question number 1, have you or someone you know ever been responsible for making funeral arrangements? How did it go, and did it create financial problems? This is asking the client to look back at their own experience in dealing with maybe planning somebody else's funeral, and just if there were any problems, what were those problems? And perhaps a final expense policy is going to alleviate some of those problems, especially financial problems. Number 2, who will be responsible for your funeral arrangements when you die, and is that person financially prepared? It could be a son or a daughter. It could be a spouse. Is that person going to be financially prepared? Again, that lead-in question, the solution could be a final expense plan. Number 3, does your spouse have enough savings to protect against the immediate loss of your income? You may be dealing with somebody that's still working part-time or maybe still working full-time, and they're not in a retired situation. Maybe they don't have the money to retire. So the spouse may be relying on that income. A final expense policy could help bridge that gap of where there's a loss of income. Question number 4, are you aware that bank accounts and assets are not available to your children immediately upon your death? That's a big one. A lot of times if you're dealing with somebody that maybe their spouse has already passed on, and the people who are going to be responsible for their funeral will be their children. One thing to point out to your client, that they may say they have savings, but that savings may be locked up and not available to their children immediately upon death. Keep in mind the life insurance policy, the death benefit is paid to the beneficiary tax-free, and it avoids probate. So that's another example and another benefit of a final expense policy. And this is a real direct question. Number 5, if you don't take out a final expense policy, what alternative plan will you use for your family? So if you don't take out a final expense policy, what alternative plan will you use for your family? So those are the top 5 lead-in questions that could expose the need for a final expense plan. Moving on, challenge and success. So just a couple weeks ago, and this is what kind of prompted me to investigate all the final expense companies that take younger clients. We had a 40-year-old male, non-smoker, and he was only looking for about $10,000 to $15,000 in final expense coverage. He wanted the policy to pay for a funeral. Now, he got declined by a regular company for having an irregular heartbeat, and he was taking a medication that is on a lot of the medication guides as being unacceptable. It's called Sotalol, and he was on a 30-day treatment of that back in March. Contacted Liberty Bankers. Liberty Bankers is able to issue a level benefit plan using their simple standard plan. So $10,000 was $27.19 per month. $15,000 of coverage is $38.47 per month. So you'll see that these are affordable rates. The rates are never going to change. The death benefit is never going to change. And they're not going to have a problem with the fact that this 40-year-old male has an irregular heartbeat and was taking Sotalol. So that's just a challenge and success when it comes to the underwriting with final expense. Now, a lot of you may be interested in getting some B leads or kind of kicking the tires for maybe what leads are available. So here's what we have available at this point, and leads kind of come and go. So B leads are nothing more than leads that are over 30 days old. So they're a little stagnant. They're still exclusive. Nobody has contacted them. And with the lead program, if you wanted to get A leads, good solid leads, again, those costs for $29 a lead with a 20 lead minimum order. And you do have to be licensed with URL, and you do have to give us a commitment to purchasing leads. With the B leads, you don't have to give us a commitment, but you do have to be contracted with a final expense carrier through URL. So here's what we have available. In Pennsylvania, Carbon County, we have 40 leads available there. Cumberland County, we have 19 leads available there. Dauphin County, we have 2. Luzerne County, we have 40. In Northampton County, we have 17. So we have leads available there. If you're interested in purchasing those leads, let me know. Contact me at 800-926-8875, and my extension is 141. Other states that we have some leads available, Prince George County in Maryland, we have 25 leads there for you. Cabarrus, Mecklenburg County, those are collar counties around Charlotte. We have 20 leads there in the North Carolina area. And then Montgomery County, Virginia, it's northwest in Virginia. There's 20 leads available there. Any leads, you can order as many as you want as long as they're available. And again, they're $15 per lead. So contact me if you're interested in getting any of those leads after we end the webinar today. Now is the time to kind of open up the phone lines, or for you to be able to type some questions or some of the challenges that you have going on. So what are your challenges and successes in the final expense marketplace? What are you running into when it comes to underwriting snags? What are you noticing in the field? What are your clients saying when you present a final expense plan? Are they open to suggestions? What are the rebuttals that you're getting? And at the bottom line here is, what can we do to help you significantly grow your sales? So we'll open up the Q&A for that at this point. I do have a couple that came in here. Nancy asked a question, how are the leads generated and where do we get the leads? We've vetted a couple different lead vendors, Nancy. What URL does is anybody that is interested in purchasing leads, we will order the leads for you. We prepay them, and when the leads come in, that's when you would pay for them. Now, the leads are generated through this vendor. You would specify the counties that you want to work. If there are particular zip codes that you are not interested in ordering, you can omit those zip codes. And what they'll do is they will do enough mailings so that if you want 20 leads, you are guaranteed 20 leads. Now the telemarketed leads, that's mailers. They're $29 a lead, 20 lead minimum order. The telemarketed leads, we have vetted a telemarketing company that will make phone calls to the counties that you want to target. And when those leads come in, that you will pay up front. They will start making phone calls on your behalf. When somebody wants to speak to you about final expense, you will be provided the name, address, and phone number of that client, as well as a recording of the phone conversation, so you know what they talk about, so that it sounds as if everything kind of flows, and that they're somebody that works on your behalf. So I hope that answers your questions, Nancy. If you do have other questions, you can type them or give me a call, and we can discuss that further. I do see a hand raised. Let me see if I can unmute your phone here. Socrates, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, I guess not. Here's a good question that just came in. Rich asked, do all final expense carriers pay cash values as well as the death benefit? It's an either-or situation, Rich. If the client decides while they're still alive that they do not want the insurance policy, there will be some cash values, depending on how long they've had the policy. They will have some cash values in the policy. When they die, the beneficiary gets the death benefit. They do not get both. For an example, if the client has a $10,000 death benefit and they have $5,000 of cash value in the policy, when they die, the beneficiary gets $10,000. $5,000 goes back to the company. So they don't get both. And I will say this, that's kind of an exaggeration. I'm just doing it for math purposes. The cash values, there are cash values in a policy, but they're not that significant. With final expense, the client's basically paying a premium that's going to fund the death benefit, and there's usually a little bit of cash value in there, but again, there's not a lot, and there's also surrender charges and all that stuff figured in there as well. Let me know if you have other questions about that. You can continue to type questions if you have them. I'm going to move into the next part here, which is the 6 steps to final expense success. The first step is warm up. When you get to a client's home, ask them for a glass of water and ask to sit at their kitchen table. A lot of people are usually more comfortable at the kitchen table, and they're willing to open up and discuss their final expense needs. So the first step is to warm up. The second step is to introduce and discuss the importance of final expense. That's where you would use those top 5 lead-in questions, which will introduce and basically discuss the importance of final expense and the need that final expense will help solve or fulfill. After you've discussed the importance of final expense, estimate their final expenses. How much death benefit do they need? Are they looking for a full burial, or are they looking to get cremated? Who's paying for it? Can they afford to pay for the entire death benefit of the policy, or will they be able to pay, or will the death benefit only be able to pay for a majority of their final expenses? So number 4, offer payment options that meet their needs. So you could attack it as $1 a day, $2 a day, if it's easier for them to wrap their head around that, as opposed to $30 a month, $60 a month. Once they've settled on a payment option that meets their needs, the next part is to close the sale. And then last but certainly not least, ask for referrals. So warm up, which is ask for a glass of water, ask to sit in their kitchen, and then 2, introduce and discuss the importance of final expense. Number 3, estimate their final expenses. Number 4, offer payment options that meet their needs. Number 5, close the sale. And number 6, ask for referrals. So hope that helps you. If you're not doing final expense, hopefully this gives you the motivation to try it out. If you're doing final expense, hopefully that will help you reap even higher rewards and higher benefits. So at this time, I'm going to wrap up the webinar for today. As I mentioned, our monthly Mondays are usually within about 30 minutes or so. It's just to kind of give you some pointers, some tips that we're learning along the way here. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to type those. I'll be happy to read them aloud and answer those questions and comments. If you have any other questions after we part today, feel free to contact me. Put me in your cell phone, 800-926-8875. My extension is 141. My partner in crime and also my boss, Steve Clemens, he's at extension 132. We're here to help you grow your final expense business. So whatever we can do to help, we'll be happy to do it. Our next monthly Monday meeting will be Monday, July 3rd. Can't believe we're going into July already. 10 o'clock Eastern time. So mark your calendars for that. As I mentioned, for those of you that are in the Medicare market and you're looking to see how we can help you springboard into other sales opportunities, mark your calendars for Wednesday, July 12th. We'll be doing a breakfast seminar here at URL at 8:30 in the morning. Have another question that came in. I'm recording the webinar, Dave, so yes, you'll be getting a copy of this webinar. Thank you for that question. So again, if you have any questions or comments, give me a call, 800-926-8875. I appreciate everybody's time today and look forward to working with you on your next life insurance case or final expense case, whatever we can do to help. Appreciate your business. We appreciate you. Have a good day, everybody.